Welcome back. I'm talking to Josh McDowell, and we're talking about a book that I really believe could be one of the most important books of our generation. It's entitled The Unshakable Truth, How You Can Experience the 12 Essentials of Relevant Faith. We were talking earlier about a survey that we had both seen, and I don't remember where I saw it, but basically it said that research had shown, well, that what had happened in this survey, they had asked a lot of people questions, and they had identified the various people they were asking questions, and that atheists answered the questions better about the Bible than the Christians.
By 4%.
By 4%. Yep. That
when asked about salvation, Moses, Jesus, the resurrection and all, yeah. The atheists and agnostics knew the truth more and were more accurate in their answers than evangelical Christians.
Could that be because of some of the young people who early in their lives left the church after growing up in the church because they lost its sense of relevance?
That could be part of it, Jerry, but I think some of it is, I think of a lot of atheists, agnostics have the same kind of mind I have or outlook, is that they have studied Christianity to find out what they can easily destroy.
Well, you studied the Muslim faith to find out what you needed
to
debate, so maybe that's true.
And because of their studying the Christian faith so much to be able to debate and put Christians down, they actually ended up knowing more, as I did in Islam at the time. I don't know if I could recall it all now, but at the time I was probably more prepared in Islam than 99% of Muslims in the world.
Exactly. Well, tell me about the structure of the Unshakable Truth.
Well, we discovered 12 truths, has nothing to do with the 12 apostles,
okay.
That the church in 325 AD, that turned the world upside down. There were 12 basic truths. So the book has 12 sections. Each section is a truth. But here's the key, Jerry. There's 4 short, easy-to-read chapters under each section. The first chapter is, what is the truth? What should I believe about it? What should I know about it? Second, why should I even believe it? How do you even know it's true? Apologetics. The third one is, so what? So this or this or that. How does it affect my life? And the fourth chapter is, how can I experience that in my life, my family, and my relationships? Every one of the truths has it. What should I believe? Why is it true? So what? How can I experience it? And
the last one being the application, which would,
right.
You know, I said really having a passion for Christ. That's the application. You can know the truth. I mean, you can go through this book and you can read the Bible.
Well, see, this is based
upon... But that doesn't give you the passion for Christ that we really need then.
Because we're usually teaching it wrong. See, theology, even when I was in seminary, and I had some great professors, but basically theology was taught to know it. I believe theology should be always taught to apply it. And we haven't done that. And many of our great seminaries don't teach that. It's there to be known. You got to have the truth. You need to know the truth.
And the
truth need to be there of how we can live it and experience it.
You said to me something that really caught my attention. One of the struggles of the church, one of the problems of the church today, is that it is more project-oriented than what?
They did a study, 800 churches, 250-some thousand congregants, people that attend church, in 12 denominations, evangelical denominations. And it came out that we are not, two things, we're not passing the faith on, every church, to our younger people, generation, and that we're not producing followers of Jesus. And one of the conclusions was through it all, and many of them, you know, many of the people right in this area said, we failed. The model was false. Is that so much of it, Christianity has been based upon projects, where it ought to be based upon process. Discipleship is a process, not a project. Mentoring is a process, not a project. Now, I'm not knocking projects. We should always use projects to reinforce the process. And the process is that if we need to pass on correct, truthful biblical understanding of life and how that is applied and lived out. That's the Christian life. Now, you can use projects to accomplish that, but if you just live upon projects, you will fail. And for the most part,
the church becomes a social club.
Yes,
If it's just based on projects.
the church becomes a hypocritical club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and both of us are oriented toward the church. We believe in the church. We support the local church. And there's a lot of exceptions to what we're talking about, but there's a lot of non-exceptions too. I mean, there's a lot of churches that have become social clubs that are sending young people out because the priority has been growth rather than the deeper spiritual walk. So it brings me back to this book, and I really see this book as a book for the individuals, for the fathers, for the mothers, for the grandfathers, and other influencers who really need to leave a legacy. So my question, is this written for scholars or is it a layman's book?
I wrote it for the mom and dad believer, really, because I'm committed to parents.
Yeah.
But if I knew if I wrote it in a way they understood and could grasp it, then the scholars could too. But if I wrote it in only the way the scholar might grasp it, the layperson wouldn't.
Yeah.
I did it with my son.
Really?
Why? First of all, the kid is brilliant. Oh my God. He's doing his doctorate now in apologetics, and my son is a better speaker than I am. And I'm a good speaker.
I told my son one day, I said, son, I'm a writer, but you're really a writer.
That's what I conclude.
I mean, you write literature.
And your kids let you know it, don't they?
Yeah,
my son came out with a shirt. Instead of GMM, Josh McDowell Ministry, had the Sean McDowell Ministry. And so you knew. He said, but with Sean, I wanted to come at it from two generations, two cultures, the youth generation of culture, the older generation of culture. Because I felt if I wrote it alone, it would have been a good book. But writing with Sean, I have to be careful how I say this, but I truly believe it's a great book.